Hey guys, now I'm going to show you how we can integrate a column chart into our system. So previously we have the pie chart, so let's just update our dashboard, um, update and have an area for the bar chart. So here we can add a class. So let's do dev um, fresh, then here fresh, let's remove container bar chart. Let's use that ID. Then let's add a style. uh, Currently, so here each of this, let's add a column of 50% width, then the other is 50%. What I'm going to do is class column 50, so with 50%. So it's 50%. Now what I'm gonna do is flex. Let's try to just copy this one, and then copy the class, so this will display on rows. So we have the purchase orders by status. Then here we can use so currently we don't have the high chart code for bar charts, so let's just grab. So here is the sample basic column chart from just our high chart, so we can use or edit it in just Fiddle. Let's just try to copy and paste just like we did in the graph or the pie chart. So here we already added this one, so we'll just need to copy that code, and then next is, I mentioned before, this should be the name of the element that the graph will be rendered, so it's container bar chart. So if we refresh, as you can see, it is rendered successfully. Now what we're going to do is update some of this. So for now, I'll just use the order product or suppliers. um I'm just going to um, transform it into a graph how many suppliers have product set, or should we say in our view supplier. Let's just display or convert this into a graph. So supplier one, let's display how many products are set to that supplier. Well, I think it doesn't make sense, but the goal here is to understand how we can use the chart. So the same thing, we can use let's include another file, get graph data for supplier product count. So actually you can just use a single file and then just put all the query inside that, but for now I'll just use different file to copy or pull the data for the next chart. So PO, so it's the bar graph supplier product bar graph PHP. So let's refresh. Fresh. Then here we can just copy this, paste the code. So here in our graph, let's go back to our graph. So we can just use or change the text to supplier, but how do we name this one? Supplier. Product count set assigned by supplier. Then the subtitle, I think this one, we'll just remove this. As you can see here, we have different for in each of these products. I mean, each month they have this monthly rainfall, monthly average rainfall. So what we're gonna do is we'll just use one data. So for example, y-axis tooltip. So the categories, this is where we set or insert the different supplier names. So for example, you'll just do a hard code on supplier 1, supplier 2, fresh. So this, the number of count here, it should match. So currently we have 2 counts of categories. Here we need to make sure the data is also match the 2 counts. As you can see here, Tokyo, we have data in supplier 1, supplier 2 also have data. but doesn't have data for the rest. So as you can see, if we remove some of this, make it 2 counts, reduce, as you can see, we'll have data for the supplier 1, supplier 2. However, we just need 1 column. So what we're going to do is remove. So we can just remove so here supplier 1, supplier 2. So we converted it into a single bar chart, and here we need to create or pull 2 variables. So we'll have the categories, which is the name of supplier, and then here we should have the corresponding count. Let's remove the dot or the decimals, then the this text, this one here, rainfall y-axis should have product set. So here's the product count, supplier. In the tooltip, we can remove the y or this one. We don't need point format. I think we can use the same properties here. This point formatter tooltip instead of a table. Let's remove this. So let's remove the table. If we remove, refresh, identify 71. Point that name, supplier to suppliers, undefined 49, point that name, just copy. So I guess key here, use the key. So I tried adding a log to our variable, see which properties we should use. If we log on supplier 2, so the point we can just use category. So then point that y, refresh, supplier 1, supplier 2. So I guess we'll just remove the header format. So we remove the redundancy. Supplier. So I guess this supplier 1 here, it's a default. We can't remove that one. um, point y. If we remove the point y, let's see what happened. So that's the value. So for now, let's just skip it. So what we're going to do is we need to update or pull data from our database. Here we can use the product supplier table. So as you can see here, this is where we set the supplier and then the product records. So we can use the same thing. We'll get all the suppliers and then query from our product supplier just the count. So here we can just use select select all from product suppliers. It's just not the suppliers but suppliers. And then we execute, we fetch. So let's just fetch all, use the fetch all, then bar down pros fresh. So here we have list of supplier. Then you can just query per supplier, query supplier product count, rows as row, then ID of the supplier row is the ID, or here we can use just the ID or pull only the ID, and then here query count. So let's use this one. So select count as product p count from product suppliers. So product suppliers, that supplier equals to the ID. Then here use the count. So let's just try bar dump or logging the count fresh. So 3 and 3 products. So let's go to our app, see to confirm. In our view supplier we have 1 2 3 1 2 3, so they have the same count. That's correct. So well, actually you need to get the name of the supplier. Supplier name, and then here we can use. So back to our chart, we'll need the categories table. So let's use a variable categories. It will be an array, and then let's just insert the name of the suppliers, supplier name. And then once we have the category, we need to have this data, which basically are the count. So count, or maybe bar chart count, or bar chart data. It's still an array. Then we can use bar chart data. We'll have the count. So now can use this. So here we can just use the bar graph data and use this one. Next is categories. Can use that variable. So if we plug this, refresh, so categories, as you can see we have the suppliers and its corresponding count or product count. So now let's plug in to our graph. So this will be the categories, then here the data. So if we refresh, bar graph data fresh. See, bar down, bar console, black, the bar graph data. So I guess problem is we'll use or make sure convert it to integer. I think that will fix the problem. As you can see, it's now fixed. So let's try to assign or add another product. Let's make it 4. Update. We go about to dashboard. So you can see supplier 1 is now 4 product set. And let's try to change the colors of these categories. So as you can see here, we can change the graph color by using this format. So in our file or PHP, we can update this one. So we can do y will be the value, the count, and then color. So let's just try red 29. It works. So we have this color. So now we'll need to randomly select. So known colors. So let's just colors code list. So here we can just copy this so red colors, then here this copy, blue, dark blue, purple, lime, magenta, the orange, green, no, orange, and maroon. Then you can use the key to use the colors. So here you can just use colors, then key, so it's not really a random. We'll use it by sequence. So let's start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and then here we can add the handler. So how do we add this one? So we'll need to add key set. Okay, we'll have the counter will be 0. Counter will be 0. Then here we can use the counter, and then counter plus plus. And now we'll need to add before the chart if colors if is set colors and key. So if let's use if not is set, that means there's no key, that means it exceeds the current count. I'll just set the counter back to 0, so it will start from 0 again. So if we refresh, as you can see here, national 3, supplier 4, so this will handle the error if it exceeds supplier count exceeds the color limit. So next thing you're going to do is we'll add the stacks. So currently we still don't have a column for stacks. We'll update that one in our next video, and then create in another graph for that data. So I think that's it. Thank you.